Good morning, dear students. How are you all? I hope you all must be through the chapter Deep Water, which you studied in the last session. And today I am going to take up the first chapter from Vistas, the book Vistas, prescribed for you by CBSE. The name is Third Level. The Third Level, written by Jack Finney. Now, Jack Finney's full name was Walter Braden Jack Finney, but he was popularly known as Jack. He is famous for his science fiction and thrillers. He is the recipient of the World Fantasy Award given by the World Fantasy Convention, and his most popular novel is The Body Snatchers, on the basis of which a movie was made, The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I hope you all must have, or some of you must have surely seen the movie. Now, about the third level, the chapter, in this the author has told about a young man, Charlie, who seems to be hallucinating because he, in the present world where there is war and struggle, people quarreling with each other and unrest, social unrest, he feels that the period in history before the First World War and the Second World War was the happiest time when the people enjoyed peace and happiness. Therefore, he had this kind of thought in his subconscious level, and once it so happened that he just bumped into a third level of the Grand Central Station. When he went to Grand Central Station, there are only two levels, two basement levels, but he felt that he has reached the third level also. And that third level, what did he see? At the third level of the station, he saw the people, the things, the infrastructure of the station, which were just like the period of 1894. And this is what is hallucination. When you feel, you observe, you touch, you feel that you are in that period of time which is not actually existing at that moment, which is not real at that time. And he told about this to his psychiatrist, one who deals with the psychological disorders of a person. So this psychiatrist, whose name was Sam Weiner, heard the story of Charlie and told him that it is merely escapism. It is merely a way to escape the worries and tensions of his present time, his life. He is just trying to go to that period of time in history where he can enjoy and have peaceful life. So this is how the theme of the story is escapism. Children, we also sometimes, when we are stressed out, we don't actually hallucinate, but it is the first step, you can call it as, before hallucination, that sometimes when we are also stressed out, we also feel like doing, taking a break, doing some certain things that can relieve us and give us some relief from our discomfort, from our worries, from our tensions. Just like maybe you are all tensed out just now, maybe you are under stress, you have to do a lot of studies right now, and when you are studying for at least some 5 or 6 or 7 hours, you feel stressed out, and you feel that you should do something which can give you some kind of happiness. So maybe some of you resort to painting or some other work, playing games, listening to music. There are a number of things that we do, and this is how we feel like having a change in our life. At that particular moment, when we are unable to take the stress anymore, we take a break and we enjoy ourselves. But hallucinating is something different here, where you really feel that you are in that particular period of time. Similarly, even you people may be having a dream of meeting Virat Kohli, maybe meeting Amitabh Bachchan sometime, someday in future. And sometimes, some people really feel, and they make stories also about it, that they met him and so on. So this is a kind of thing that is the power of our mind. Our minds can take you into the past. If you really have heard about the places, the people whom you desire to meet, all that, the power of mind is such that it remembers everything, and you can reach that place through your mind itself. This is how there is another theme. This is what is called as time travel, and this is the other theme of this story. Time travel. You travel into the past time, and you feel that you are there in that period of time. So this story revolves around Charlie's hallucination, in which Charlie feels that he has reached the period of 1894, where he has met the people who belonged to that period, the way of dressing and all the other things that he saw there at the station. But when he came back and tried. So now let us focus on the chapter, The Third Level by Jack Finney. So in front of you, his most famous novel is The Body Snatchers, on which a film was made, The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, in which he has talked about the podman, and he is noted by that also. And he has written many other novels and short stories, time and again. And this particular story, The Third Level, is in the collection of The Clock of Time. So in this way, he has the theme of the third level. The story that we are going to read today, let us find out what is the theme. The story Third Level is the most concise and entertaining story about time travel. Charlie wishes to be transported to the third level. Students, Charlie is the character in this story, who is a 31-year-old young man, and he wishes to be transported to the third level, the world of 1894, which is supposedly much happier and quieter place to be. Now pay attention why he wants to be transported to happier and quieter place, because he is full of anxiety due to the warlike conditions in the world, and as he is so much under the stress and anxiety, sorrows all around, that he wants to be transported to a happier place. The question whether the third level exists in real or only in Charlie's mind can be inferred from Sam's letter. Now, Sam is Charlie's psychiatrist. The story also dwells on the theme of escapism. Escapism means escaping from the present life situation where a person is under stress, depression, maybe due to the worries of his life and all the kinds of other kinds of anxieties, etc. Now, so you can see that I have underlined the two main themes used by the author are time travel and theme of escapism. Time travel means going back to a situation back in the history where you feel that particular time was the marvelous time in the life of people. People used to be very peaceful and they used to be happy in their lives. So you wish to be going back to that time period. And theme of escapism is escaping from the present to the past, where you feel that you can be out of stress and out of anxiety. The presidents of the New York Central and the New York, New Haven and Hartford railroads will swear on a stack of timetables that there are only two. But I say there are three, because I have been on the third level of the Grand Central Station. So I here is the narrator, the character Charlie himself. And he believes that if you ask the presidents of New York Central and the New York, New Haven and Hartford railroads, they will swear on a stack of timetables of the railroads, on that there are only two levels of the central station, but I say there are three. Charlie feels there are three because he has been on the third level of the Grand Central Station. Yes, I have taken the obvious step. I talked to a psychiatrist friend of mine, among others. I told him about the third level at Grand Central Station, and he said it was a waking dream wish fulfillment. Make note of that. The psychiatrist friend of Charlie told him that it is nothing, because there is no third level, the third level of the station in reality, and therefore it is your waking dream wish fulfillment, which is actually hallucination. You must have heard this word hallucination. A person goes into a trance or a dream with his waking eyes, and it seems as though he wants to fulfill some unfulfilled desire or wish. So normally we all dream with our eyes closed, but this is waking dream wish fulfillment. And I believe you all know what is the meaning of psychiatrist, one who deals with psychological disorders of a person. He said, I was unhappy. He said, he here is the psychiatrist, and he told him that Charlie was unhappy, and therefore it was just his imagination. That made my wife kind of mad, And Charlie says that his wife was also very anxious. She was mad due to sorrows, because she felt that her husband was going to face a mental disorder. But he explained that he meant that the modern world is full of insecurity, fear, war, worry, and all the rest of it. And that I just want to escape. Well, who doesn't? Everybody I know wants to escape. So children, I just talked about it before starting the lesson, that we all have some kind of a way to escape our stress. When we are stressed, we feel like leaving that particular thing and doing something else. Maybe pursuing our hobbies, like music or painting and whatsoever. Well, who doesn't? Everybody I know wants to escape, but they don't wander down into any third level at Grand Central Station. So Charlie says that I'm sure nobody goes to the third level at Grand Central Station into an imaginary place. Nobody bumps into like me. But that's the reason, he said, and my friends all agreed. Everything points to it, they claimed. My stamp collecting, for example, that's a temporary refuge from from reality. Well, maybe, but my grandfather did not need any refuge from reality. Things were pretty nice and peaceful. So Charlie says even his grandfather had this kind of hobby of collecting the stamps, and I'm sure that he was not unhappy. He feels that the psychiatrist friend has given the base, or the foundation, or the reason for his escapism is that he is unhappy, and he also resorts to this kind of hobby of stamp collecting. And it seems to be a temporary refuge. Look at the word refuge. Refuge means shelter. So somebody taking temporary shelter for a temporary period of time from reality. So that's not so. Charlie is a bit confused. He is not able to understand what is the reason. From all I hear, he started my collection. So Charlie believes that his grandfather had started this collection, stamp collection, from where he also inherited this kind of hobby from him. Now, children, you may be knowing that stamp collection is also called as philately. It's a nice collection too. Blocks of 4 of practically every US issue, first day covers, and so on. So he is looking at the stamp collection of his grandfather, and he knows that there is a block of 4 of practically every US issue. US issue means the country that which all the stamps issued by the country US. First day covers, the envelopes. First day covers, the first envelopes that they were issued, and so on. President Roosevelt collected stamps too, and he remembers that President Roosevelt also cherished this hobby of collecting stamps. Anyway, here's what happened at Grand Central. So he is describing what happened at Grand Central. One night last summer, I worked late at the office. I was in a hurry to get uptown to my apartment, so I decided to take the subway from Grand Central because it is faster than the bus. So he thought of entering the different way from the subway to from the Grand Central station, and because it was faster than the bus, he didn't want to take a bus towards his apartment. Now I don't know why this should have happened to me. I am just an ordinary guy named Charlie. 31 years old, and I was wearing a tan gabardine suit and a straw hat with a fancy band. So he is describing how he belonged to just a medium class family and he was just an ordinary man. He was no celebrity or somebody. He says that he was wearing a tan, grayish color, blackish color, gabardine suit. Gabardine is a type of the texture of the cloth. It is the cloth is made of, and the suit was made of that particular cloth, and a straw hat with a fancy band. I passed a dozen men who looked just like me, and I wasn't trying to escape from anything. I just wanted to get home to Louisa, my wife. So the author just was in a hurry after his day's work, and he wanted to go back home quickly and meet his wife, Louisa. Now I don't know why this should have happened to me. I am just an ordinary guy named Charlie, 31 years old, and I was wearing a tan gabardine suit and a straw hat with a fancy band. I passed a dozen men who looked just like me, and I wasn't trying to escape from anything. I just wanted to get home to Louisa, my wife. So Charlie is describing himself, and he says that he is just a 31-year-old man who was in his office and was returning home to meet his wife Louisa, and he says that he was not trying to escape anything, and he was just wearing ordinary clothes just like anybody else around him. And what was he wearing? He was wearing a tan gabardine suit. Gabardine, students, is a type of cloth. It is a worsted cotton mixed with cotton and silk. It's a smooth surface cloth used for making suit and overcoats. And a straw hat. Now, straw hat, a hat which is woven or made with the help of straw-like material. I passed a dozen men who looked just like me. Now this is also very important. He says that there are so many dozen people around me. They are just like me. And everybody is doing their work. Everybody returning from their office. They are not escaping anything. And I also was not escaping anything. I was in my normal routine. I turned into Grand Central from Vanderbilt Avenue and went down the steps to the first level. First level, he took the steps, Grand Central Station, you can imagine. Now it's a very picturesque description. You can just imagine how Charlie went into the Grand Central Station from Vanderbilt Avenue. Avenue is a huge road. You can see in the picture also the trees, a broad road in the city or in a town where you have huge trees on the sides. So from the avenue, Vanderbilt Avenue, he went down the steps to the first level, where you take trains like the 20th Century. 20th Century is the name of the train, and he says that from the first level, people used to take this 20th Century train. Then I walked down another flight to the second level. Flight here does not mean flights, aeroplanes. Flight here means staircase. So he thought he didn't want to take the 20th Century train. His train was supposed to be coming from the at the second level. So he walked down another flight, another staircase to the second level. Now he had reached the second level, where the suburban trains leave from. So he says that from the second level, the suburban trains used to leave, and he had to catch a suburban train. Suburban means going to the outer boundaries of the city, main city. Ducked into an arched doorway. Ducked, that he had to bend down because the doorway was arched. It was in the shape of an arch, heading for the subway, and got lost. And from there he feels that something happened to him and he got lost. Lost not the way. He did not lose the way. That's easy to do. I have been in and out of Grand Central hundreds of times, but I am always bumping into new doorways and stairs and corridors. he wants to say that he was engrossed in his thoughts so much that he used to get confused, although he had come in and out of Grand Central Station hundreds of times. But he always bumped into new doorways and stairs and corridors. Once I got into a tunnel about a mile long and came out in the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel. So he says that sometimes he used to lose his way and he used to get into a tunnel, and many a time he used to lose his way, and sometimes he used to get into a new doorway or new stairs and corridors, and once he had also got into a tunnel about a mile long and came out of it in the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel. Another time I came up in an office building on 46th Street, 3 blocks away. Sometimes I think Grand Central is growing like a tree, pushing out new corridors and staircases like roots. So, that day, when he had lost his way from the Grand Central Station, he felt that from the second level he had moved to another level where there were number of corridors and new staircases, and he felt that the Grand Central Station was growing underground because already there were two underground levels, first level and the second level. Now he was feeling that he had found another level of the Grand Central Station and it was growing like the roots under the ground. There is probably a long tunnel that nobody knows about, feeling its way under the city right now, on its way to Times Square, and maybe another to Central Park, and maybe because for so many people through the years, Grand Central has been an exit, a way of escape. Maybe that's how the tunnel I got into. But I never told my psychiatrist friend about that idea. The corridor I was in began angling left and slanting downward, and I thought that was wrong, but I kept on walking. So, for a simple moment or a single moment, he felt that there was something wrong on the way which he was following in the tunnel, but he kept on walking. All I could hear was the empty sound of my own footsteps, and I did not pass a soul. Did not pass a soul means nobody else was going through that tunnel, and he felt it was something weird, it was something unusual, as there was no other passenger going through that way, no other person. So, and he could even feel there was so much of silence and quietness all around that he could feel his own footsteps. Then I heard that sort of hollow roar ahead, that means open space and people talking. The tunnel turned sharp left. I went down a short flight of stairs and came out on the third level at Grand Central Station. For just a moment I thought I was back on the second level, but I saw the room was smaller, there were fewer ticket windows and train gates. So suddenly he reached the Grand Central Station through the tunnel, and there was a small staircase which he came down from the stairs, and he reached the Grand Central Station. So for a moment he believed that he was on the second level, but it was all unusual there. What did he see? Everything was different. He saw the room was smaller, there were fewer ticket windows and train gates. The Grand Central Station in the present was absolutely different. It was a huge station, and the station that he saw was having small rooms and very few ticket windows, and the train gates also, the gates from where you board a train. And the information booth in the center was wood and old looking. And the information booth also was in the center of the station, was looking old fashioned. Old looking means old fashioned, made of wood. And the man in the booth wore a green eye shade and long black sleeve protectors. So the man also was very differently dressed up. He was having a green eye shade, the specs, the goggles were green in color, and long black sleeve protectors, you know, when you wear a overcoat. The lights were dim and sort of flickering. The lights were also very dim, which was unusual for Charlie because it was not the way it used to be. Then I saw why they were open flame gas lights. And then he realized, he saw that there were open flame gas lights. There were no modern day lights there, and there were open flame gas lights. That is why the lights were so dim and flickering, moving. There were brass spittoons on the floor, and across the station a glint of light caught my eye. A man was pulling a gold watch from his vest pocket. He snapped open the cover, glanced at his watch, and frowned. He wore a derby hat, a black 4-button suit with tiny lapels, and he had a big black handlebar mustache. Then I looked around and saw that everyone in the station was dressed like 80, 90 something. I never saw so many beards, sideburns, and fancy mustaches in my life. A woman walked in through the gate, a train gate. She wore a dress with a leg of mutton sleeves and skirts to the top of her high-buttoned shoes. Back of her, out on the tracks, I caught a glimpse of a locomotive, a very small Currier and Ives locomotive with a funnel-shaped stack. And then I knew. Pay attention to this. The students, please note that Charlie felt that he did not know that he was in the present world. He felt that there were brass spittoons on the floor, and across the station a glint of light caught my eye. A man was pulling a gold watch from his vest pocket. He snapped open the cover, glanced at his watch, and frowned. He wore a derby hat, a black 4-button suit with tiny lapels, and he had a big black handlebar mustache. Then I looked around and saw that everyone in the station was dressed like 1890 something. I never saw so many beards, sideburns, and fancy mustaches in my life. A woman walked in through the train gate. She wore a dress with leg of mutton sleeves and skirts to the top of her high-buttoned shoes. Back of her, out on the tracks, I caught a glimpse of a locomotive, very small Currier and Ives locomotive with a funnel-shaped stack, and then I knew. So in this paragraph, you can see that Charlie has described the people and the place at the station. What he saw was absolutely different from the present time where he used to stay. In the Grand Central Station, what he used to see every day was, here he could see something different. And therefore he felt that he had reached the 3rd level of the Grand Central Station, which nobody knew about it. So he felt that at the 3rd level, at the station there were different types of things that he saw, which gave him a very weird feeling. There were brass spittoons, as you have just read in the previous paragraph, that he was talking about the ticket windows and the person behind the ticket window, how he was dressed, and the ticket window was very small. And also you had seen that the open flame glass, the lights were used there, and in that flickering light, in the glint of light, that is the flickering of light, he could see a man using a gold watch, which in the present times perhaps nobody used it, and that too he was not wearing it on his wrist, it was in his vest pocket. Now vest is the garment which is worn on the upper body, it does not have sleeves. So from that pocket he took out a gold watch which was attached with the help of a chain. He snapped open the cover, glanced the watch, and was getting angry, frowned, because maybe he was getting late. So he has described his looks also. He was wearing a derby hat. Derby hat is a stiff hat which does not take the shape of the wearer's head. Derby hat. There are many types of hat. You have bowler's hat and a black 4-button suit. He was wearing a suit which had 4 buttons with tiny lapels. Lapels are the side folds, just beneath the collar. Beneath the collar, you have side folds on the coat on the sides. And he had a big black handlebar mustache. Now, handlebar mustache is a straight mustache with the ends folded upwards. Then I looked around and saw that everyone in the station was dressed like 1890 something. Now this is very important, 1890. So you can understand that somewhere in his subconscious mind, Charlie had this desire to be in 1890s, which is the time before the First World War and the Second World War. First World War, which happened in 1914 to 1918, and so he feels that the people were very peaceful and they had a very happy life. So he wanted to be transported to that particular phase or the period of history, and therefore he feels that he is somewhere in 1890s, where people are very peculiarly dressed. They were strange. They had strange look. And he says, I never saw so many beards. So many beards means all the people. He saw many people there at the 3rd level who were having beards, mustache, fancy mustaches, and sideburns. Sideburns, children, it is the growth of hair on the sides of the faces, which is grown by the men just beside the ears, which is also called as side locks, we say. A woman walked in through the train gate, and the woman also she was wearing the dress that she was wearing was typically belonging to that period of history. She wore a dress with a leg of mutton sleeves. Mutton sleeves are leather sleeves. The leather sleeves and skirt to the top of her high buttoned shoes. She was having high buttoned shoes. And he also saw that the locomotive, the engine which pulls the train, it belonged to Currier and Ives Locomotive Company, and it had a funnel shaped stack. Stack is the chimney on the engine. And then I knew. To make sure, I walked over to a newsboy. And then I knew means that he felt that he had finally transported into that period of history, into 1890s. To make sure, I walked over to a newsboy and glanced at the stack of papers at his feet. So he went to the newsboy and he wanted to make sure that was he really in that period of time. It was The World. The newspaper name was The World. The World hasn't been published for many years. So he felt this newspaper, The World, had been stopped. Its publication had stopped for the past so many years. The lead story said something about President Cleveland, and this was the President Cleveland belonged to the period of history of 1890s, and it was talking about it had published some news about the President Cleveland. I have found that front page since in the public library files, and it was printed June 11, 1894. So he also saw the date of the newspaper, and it was June 11, 1894. So what does all this mean? All these things tell you that Charlie was very confident that he had discovered a 3rd level, or he had finally reached the 1890 period, where he saw all the things that belonged to that part of that period of history. He was very curious, and he was very happy because he had always desired to go to Galesburg, Illinois. And in this paragraph, Charlie tells you that how immediately he goes to the ticket window and he wanted to buy 2 tickets, one for himself and for his wife. and he wanted to go to Galesburg, which is a wonderful land, wonderful town, and he always had a desire to go there. I turned toward the ticket windows, knowing that here on the third level at Grand Central, I could buy tickets that would take Louisa and me anywhere in the United States we wanted to go. In the year 1894, and I wanted 2 tickets to Galesburg, Illinois. Have you ever been there? It's a wonderful town still, with big old frame houses. Now, in this paragraph, Charlie has described why he wanted to go to Galesburg, because it was a beautiful place. How? Big old frame houses, huge lawns, tremendous trees whose branches meet overhead and roof the streets. So, beautiful trees and beautiful landscape. And in 1894, summer evenings were twice as long, and people sat out on their lawns, the men smoking cigars and talking quietly. That means peaceful atmosphere there in 1894. The women waving palm leaf fans with the fireflies all around in a peaceful world. So students, now focus on this peaceful world. So he always had a desire to go there because he felt that in 1894 it was a peaceful world there where everybody was happy. To be back there with the First World War still 20 years off. Now pay attention to this sentence. To be back there, to be back with there with the First World War still 20 years off. So the First World War happened in 1914 and he was there in 1894. That means he's going back to the past. And this is the time travel of the character Charlie. He has traveled back into time in the period 1894, and he says the First World War was still 20 years off and the World War II was over 40 years in the future. And I wanted 2 tickets for that because he felt that he was so happy that he wanted to go there before the First World War or the Second World War happened. The clerk figured the fare. He glanced at my fancy hat band, but he figured the fare. And I had enough for 2 coach tickets one way. But when I counted out the money and looked up, the clerk was staring at me. He nodded at the bills. "That ain't money, mister," he said. "And if you are trying to skin me, you won't get very far." And he glanced at the cash drawer beside him. Of course, the money was old-style bills, half again as big as the money we use nowadays, and different-looking. I turned away and got out fast. There's nothing nice about jail, even in 1894. So in this paragraph, it's a very funny. You can see the students how Charlie had to run away from there, and he was made to realize that he was not in 1894 because the currency that he had, he says, the clerk figured the fare. He found out what is the fare to Galesburg, Illinois, and there he again glanced at the person Charlie, and he saw that Charlie was different for him because all the people of 1894 were different for Charlie. And similarly, the clerk also felt that Charlie was somewhat a weird and strange kind of a person. He was wearing a hatband and he was looking different. And Charlie was confident that he had money for 2 coach tickets. And the clerk still stared at him. So Charlie was wondering what has happened. And finally, the clerk told him, "This ain't money, mister." This ain't money means that this is not the money which is the currency now. We don't take this. He said, "And if you're trying to skin me, you won't get very far." That means don't try to fool me. You are trying to fool me. You will not be able to go far. You will get arrested. And he glanced at the cash drawer beside him. Of course, the money was old style bills. So when he was glancing and looking at the cash drawer beside him, even Charlie also had a look there, and he saw that in the drawer all the money was of old style bills, half again as big as the money as we use nowadays. Now pay attention to the word nowadays. Nowadays, in the present time of Charlie, in the present time, the 19th, 20th century, he says that people never used to have this kind of currency at that time. So there is nothing about nice about jail. There is nothing nice about jail. So he feared that he may be arrested. So he pushed off from that place. And that was that. I left the same way I came, I suppose. Next day during lunch hour, I drew $300 out of the bank, nearly all we had, and bought old style currency. You can buy old money at almost any coin dealers, but you have to pay a premium. My $300 bought less than 200 in old style bills, but I did not care. Eggs were 13 cents a dozen in 1894. Now, in this paragraph, Charlie says that he believed in the third level, and he believed that he could go from the third level, he could go to the 1894 period of history, and he could see the city Galesburg, and he was so excited about it that he drew all his $300 out of the bank and he got it changed into old style currency from the coin dealers. And from the coin dealer, when he went to change the $300 into the old currency, he could get only $200. So he did not regret it. He felt that it was okay. For 300, if he is getting $200, it's okay. Because in 1894, eggs were 13 cents a dozen. Because in those time, in 1894, things were very cheap. They were not very expensive as in the present. So he did not mind having $100 less in the old style bills. But I have never again found the corridor that leads to the third level at Grand Central Station. Now this is the fact. This is the fact from which Charlie came out from his imagination, and this he realized that when he went again with the $200 old style bills or old style currency, he never found the corridor that led to the third level at Grand Central Station, because there were only two levels. The third level is therefore a figment of imagination of Charlie. Although I have tried often enough. So he used to try it often, not just once. He went many times to find out the third level, but that day only he could see the third level, and after that he could not find the third level. Louisa was pretty worried when I told her all this, and I did not want me to look for the third level anymore. And after a while I stopped. I went back to my stamps. Means, again I picked up my hobby of stamp collecting. So I forgot about this third level anymore. I did not think about it. But now we are both looking every weekend, because now we have proof that the third level is still there. So now we here means both he and Louisa, his wife, both looking every weekend, because now we have proof that the third level is still there. My friend Sam Weiner disappeared. Nobody knew where, but I sort of suspected, because Sam's a city boy and I used to tell him about Galesburg. I went to school there, and he always said he liked the sound of the place. So Charlie feels that Sam Weiner is not seen around in that city, in that place. So perhaps when he told him about a beautiful city, Galesburg, he must have gone there. Sam is a city boy, means he is a person who loves to be entertained, and he always likes to be like one who always has a desire for enjoyment. So one who feels like being at good places and likes to be a traveler there. So he felt that Sam has perhaps gone to that place. He always said he liked the sound of the place, and that's where he is, all right, in 1894. So Charlie had a belief that perhaps Sam has gone to that place and he must be in 1894. Because one night, fussing with my stamp collection. Now, how Charlie is so confirmed about Sam's presence in Galesburg. How does he feel that Sam has reached that period of history in which he had gone once? Because he gives the reason, one night fussing with my stamp collection. Fussing means just going through, seeing the stamp collection, what he has, what he does not have. And I found, well, do you know what a first day cover is? Do you know what a first day cover is? So he is telling the readers what first day cover is. When a new stamp is issued, stamp collectors buy some and use them to mail envelopes to themselves on the very first day of sale. And the postmark proves the date. The envelope is called a first day cover. They are never opened. You just put blank paper in the envelope. So first day cover. What is first day cover? It is actually when the new stamp is given or is and use them to mail envelopes to themselves on the very first day of sale. And the postmark proves the date. The envelope is called a first day cover. They are never opened. You just put a blank paper in the envelope. So first day cover. How did they collect the stamps? How did Charlie's grandfather used to collect the stamps? That is, whenever a new stamp was issued by the government, they used to mail envelopes to themselves, and that envelope was called as the first day cover. Inside they used to post it to whom? To themselves. They used to buy the envelope and paste the stamp on it, and they used to post it to themselves. They never opened those envelopes because there was only a blank paper in the envelope. And why did they do this? This is because they wanted to keep the stamp. They wanted to collect the stamp. Now they can't buy the stamp simply and just they used to post the envelopes to themselves. Now on the envelopes, the postmark, the stamp, it used to prove the date in the past. So these people who are involved in philately, they collect the stamps of remote past. They have stamps of very past in the maybe 18th century or 17th century also. So Charlie felt that he found one envelope, one first day cover, and he felt that it was posted to his grandfather. It was mailed to his grandfather. That night, among my oldest first day covers, I found one that shouldn't have been there. But there it was. It was there because someone had mailed it to my grandfather at his home in Galesburg. That's what the address on the envelope said. And it had been there since July 18, 1894. Now you can see what is the date there? July 18, 1894. Now this proves that Charlie was really in the period 1894. He felt that Sam has also gone there because at the station when he had seen the newspaper, the date was June 11, 1894, and now you can see that he feels that his grandfather had received an envelope in which the date was July 18, 1894. The postmark showed that. Yet I did not remember it at all. The stamp was a 6-cent, dull brown with a picture of President Garfield. So, in 1894, at that time, the President Garfield was there and he had issued a stamp which was of 6 cent. Cent, children, it is the basic unit of the currency, the dollar. Naturally, when the envelope came to granddad in the mail, granddad, his grandfather, it went right into his collection and stayed there. So he believed it also because he felt that this envelope must have been posted by somebody and his grandfather kept it in his collection till I took it out and opened it. The paper inside wasn't blank. It read, Charlie, I got to wishing that you were right. Then I got to believing you were right. And Charlie, it's true. I found the third level. I have been here 2 weeks. And right now, down the street at the Dallies, someone is playing a piano. And they are all out on the front porch singing, seeing Nellie home. And I am invited over for lemonade. Come on back, Charlie and Louisa. Keep looking till you find the third level. It's worth it, believe me. Now, Charlie felt that this letter was posted to his grandfather, but it was addressed to him. And it was signed by Sam. The note is signed Sam. So Sam had signed this letter and it was addressed to Charlie, and he told Charlie that whatever you told about the third level, it is absolutely true about it and it's absolutely right, and I am already here. I have been here for 2 weeks and you also come to this place. Do not lose hope. Keep looking till you find the third level. It is worth it, believe me, that you should be here. At the stamp and coin store I found that Sam bought $800 worth of old style currency that ought to set him up in a nice little hay feed and grain business. He always said that's what he really wished he could do, and he certainly can't go back to his old business. Not in Galesburg, Illinois in 1894. His old business? Why, Sam was my psychiatrist. See how in this paragraph Charlie seems to be confused, and he also has evidences which prove that there is that they have been to the period of 1894 when he was at the third level, and now he feels and believes that Sam has also gone to the period of 1894, and he proves it because he feels that once when he had gone to the coin store to get the old style currency, he came to know from the store manager that Sam had also come and bought $800 worth of old style currency. That Sam also converted the $800 in the old currency. And why did he do that? Because he wanted to change his business. Because not in Galesburg, Illinois. He could not do his old business in Galesburg, Illinois. That is, what is his old business? Psychiatrist. Why? Sam is my psychiatrist. And that psychiatrist business he didn't want to do in Galesburg, and therefore he must have taken the old style currency in order to set up a new business of hay, feed and grain business. That is a business in which you sell the hay and feed, that is animal feed, fodder for the animals, and grains. He always said that that's what he really wished he could do. So Charlie was very much sure that Sam had taken up the business that he really wanted to do. Thus we come to the end of the chapter, children, and this is just a phase in our lives, or when we are too stressed out or full of anxiety, we try to go to such a place in which, not physically, mentally we want to transform ourselves or transport ourselves to such a place which can give you some kind of happiness, contentment, satisfaction. And this is how you can see how Charlie had a time travel and The time period was 1894, and he also believed that Sam also was in 1894, though he was a psychiatrist in his present. Now, if you have not understood anything, you can just ask in my personal WhatsApp number if you have not understood any of the sentences or any paragraph in this. Thank you.